John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today we're going to be unboxing and taking a look at the West German starter force for Team Yankee World War III miniatures game from the fine folks at Battlefront Miniatures. I've been waiting for this box for a while. I pre-ordered it months ago from Miniature Market, and it finally arrived, so I'm kind of excited to open it up. I do have Americans in Team Yankee and some Soviets. Jake has British, but I thought it would be cool to add West Germans to the mix. Alright, so you can see on the cover what we get here, which is a pretty well-rounded force. I'm no expert on the West German, so I don't know, combat-wise, meta-wise, if this is good or not, but it's got a little bit of everything. It's got tanks, armored fighting vehicles, artillery, helicopters, and airplanes, which is cool. Alright, let's flip it over. Take a look at what we got here. Zoom in just a little bit. We contain 3 Leopard 2A5 tanks. Those are the top-of-the-line Leopards. 2 Leopard 2s, 4 Martyr 2 Scouts, 3 M109 self-propelled guns, 1 M113 Observer, 2 PA helicopters, 2 Tornadoes, flight stands, magnets, rulebook, West German Start Here booklet, decal sheets, and unit cards. Alright, so everything in the box should be here to add to my Team Yankee games. Let's go ahead and pull this off. And as I mentioned before with Battlefront, I don't know how their factory workers do it, but once I open this up and pull stuff out, I can never get it back in the box the way it was meant. So this is just an end cap piece. There's nothing in there. So, I mean, look at that efficient way that they've done that. That's pretty impressive. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can slide this all out in one go. You ready for this? Okay, we kind of did it. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've got here. The Tornadoes, the M113, we'll take a closer look at those sprues, some resin, tank crew, 2 of the helicopters. You've got 3 of the Leopards, assuming because the slanted front of the turret, these are the A5 variant. Then you've got 3 M109s. These are in a different color because I think they share the same gun with the Americans, the British, and the West Germans. And that's the plastic color they use for the Americans typically. Alright, these look like the regular Leopard 2s. You can see with the squared off turret, and then the Martyr 2s. You got 4 of those. Alright, so far everything's in the box. We got the unit cards. We've got another rule book. We've got decals. So it looks like the 4 decal sheets they're talking about is helicopter, tank, airplane, and whatnot. We've got an assembly guide for the Swing Wing Tornado, which is cool. Looks like you can keep them with the swing wing. That's very cool. Do like those swing wing fighters. And then you've got the Start Here. So let's start here, shall we? Alright, so your new army, if you play the box the way that they recommend, comes to exactly 100 points. I, again, don't know if this would be a good army or not. I suspect it's probably mediocre at best, but it's very cool that we get a 100-point army out of the starter box, which means that really, if you're looking to get into Team Yankee on the cheap, West Germans might be the way to go because they're elite. They are expensive points-wise, so you don't have to buy as much stuff. Alright, so as you can see, like 1 Leopard 2A5 runs you 17 points. That's pretty crazy. So I think that's where all your points are. Then it has all the cool construction. What's next? These are always helpful. They recommend Leopard 1, Gepard, Flak Panzer battery AA, and multiple rocket launcher. I would recommend AA as your next purchase if you were going to go here, just because everyone, particularly if you're going against people with starter boxes, they're going to have airplanes and helicopters possibly at their disposal, and you're going to want something to protect those very expensive tanks from helicopters and airplanes. All right, so that's pretty cool. Next up, let's take a closer look at some of the plastic. Here is the Leopard 2A5 sprue, and you can see it's pretty much up to Battlefront's normal standards of awesome plastic. As someone who's played Flames of War for a while and Team Yankee since it came out, our plastics have really come a long way. I remember some plastics in one of the first, I can't remember if it was the first one or the first few getting started, where the fit was just terrible, a couple of Shermans, but they've really upped their game. These guys typically go together just well. I'm going to go ahead and build a couple of different tanks just to, at the end of the video, give you my opinion on the assembly. But just looking at it, you know, I can tell that these are pretty cool. So this is the Leopard 2A5, which is, here's his card, and he's just a beast. He is 22 on the front. Now I'm sure we'll do unit overviews for the West Germans just like everybody else, but just to give you an idea of what this guy has in store. I mean, front 22, he's got a 120 millimeter gun. What's interesting is he's got two gun barrels on here. If you can see that, yeah, those are two gun barrels. So I'm wondering if that's future proofing. Are we going to get a more powerful Leopard 2 down the road? I'm no expert on German armor, particularly Cold War German armor. So is there a variant of the Leopard 2 that has a bigger gun? I don't know. It'll be interesting. Or is the bigger gun what's supposed to go on there and we use the smaller gun? That's what the start here instructions are for. Anyway, pretty cool stuff. Like I said, like the box said, we get 3 of these guys in the box, and that's a lot of points since each one's like 17 points. Next up, I think this is a new kit as well. Let's see. Martyr is, yeah, that says 2020. So this is a Martyr 2, which its inclusion in Team Yankee is not without its controversy among some circles. Personally, I don't mind at all. I know this is a later era vehicle, closer to the 1990s than the 1980s. But it's pretty cool. It's going to give the West Germans something on par with, or maybe even superior in some ways, to the Bradley, to the BMP-3, to things like that. But we can see some of this detail. Looks really nice. And we get 4 of these guys, so that you can take a Martyr 2 Spa troop. I guess each one of these has 2, so you're supposed to take 2 units of these in the starter box. It's got front armor 6, side armor 4, top armor 1. Whenever I see 641, I immediately think of a Sherman and a T-34. That's the armor that they have in Flames of War. They have... what's interesting on this version is they just have guns. I don't see an optional missile launcher. They have a 35mm gun, 7.62 machine gun, and an optional 50mm gun, AT-13, which is pretty cool. And I do know that there is a way for these guys to take a Milan launcher. And we see that piece right here. But I'm not sure, you know, it might be available in some units and not others, so I don't think in the Scout unit it's available. Or maybe it's available through an upgrade in the book. I'll have to double check. But either way, very cool little infantry fighting vehicle. Or Scout, if you will. All right, next up we've got, let's take a look at the Leopard 2s. So these are an older kit, 2016, but you can see the detail there. Pretty much looks the same as the, well, they did go through the trouble of sculpting this differently. The tools are in a different place. There's a little bit more detail and up armoring on the front there. So they are a different sculpt. I wondered if they were like the same tank and you could swap out turrets or not, but it's a different build. So you get 2 of these. I'm not sure if that's going to be the most useless unit in the starter force, just because 2 tanks, a 2-tank unit is not long for the world. You lose one or bail one, and typically they test, and if you're me, it runs away. But pretty cool. You got the main gun there. These guys are front armor 18, side armor 7, top armor 2. They have the same 120 millimeter gun as the Leopard 2A5, just a little bit lower armor, and as a result, they're a lot cheaper. So these are more equivalent to your you know, M1s, Abrams, stuff like that. And cool, you get 2 of those. Moving on, we've got the helicopters. These are cute little tiny helicopters. 2016 as well. A 4-bladed rotor. It's got the, I forget what those are, hot missile launchers? Something like that. It is, yeah, hot missile launcher. Which isn't bad. It's no Hellfire or Maverick, but AT-23, 3-up firepower. These guys, and it's got a 48-inch range, which is pretty nice. So these guys could pop up and harass and do all kinds of cool stuff. You get 2 of those, which is a nice little unit, and they're not too expensive. I think 2 of them runs like 8 points or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Next we've got lots of sprues for the M113 Observer. So this is, you know, the American plastic color, so I'm sure it shares the same kit as the American. And this must be one of the very first things they did. That's 2013. Still a good little kit. It's nice they have that in there because having an observer for your artillery battery is always helpful. It's got all the doodads to make mortar versions and stuff like that. But nothing too fancy there. Just a quick glance at its card. Cool stuff. And next we've got the Tornadoes. So I think this is a kit. It's not made by Battlefront. I think they licensed them out or bought the molds or whatever. I don't know the backstory. But this is more a plastic model kit that they have put into service of Team Yankee. And then I think that they, instead of giving you clear plastic canopy, they make it, so let's see what that says. Because it's not in English, that's why I can't see what it says. But looks like a pretty simple kit. I believe there is a, yeah, the submunition dispenser with KB-44 bomblets. Those aren't on here, Those are in here. So you can tack those on and drop your salvo anti-tank 8 3+ firepower. That is brutal. Brutal. And 2 tornadoes, only 4 points. Yeah, to use the bombs, you got to be within 6 inches of your target. So if your opponent has any kind of anti-aircraft still on the table, it's debatable these guys are going to get through. But still, if they can, that's tasty. All right. So I think that's all of the models. The rest of this stuff is, those are the flight stands. Oh, wait, we forgot. There's so much stuff here, I'm losing track. We get 3 of these M109s. Originally, these were resin. My American ones are resin. But they came out with this plastic kit, 2019. And just look at that barrel. That's a beefy barrel right there. You get 3 of these, which is enough for a full battery. And the West Germans have 2 variations, the M109G, the M109A3G. The difference is this one's better at direct fire, AT-15 1+, where this is AT-12 1+. They can both use bomblets, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure, well, they're not that, they're only 1 point different, it looks like, for 3 of them. I think it takes 6 of these guys. Whew. Very cool. All right, so now we are we're done. That's the instructions for the airplane. So there you go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and build some of these and then come back and show you, give you my impression of how they build up and kind of my strategy for how I'm going to paint them. Okay, I've spent some time. I built a couple of the models, and I can come back and give you guys some thoughts. Let's start with the Leopard 2 A5. This one went together real well. Really nice. The fit seemed really good. The side skirts, I didn't have any problems getting those on. You can see how good they look. One thing I do really like about this kit, after especially building a lot of Abrams, is how easy these baskets on the back of the turret went together. They're really nice. They fit in only one way, and the fit is really snug. Unlike the basket on the M1 Abrams, it's real fiddly. One thing to note is there were 2 barrels that came with it. I had to go online to see which one is the correct one. The shorter one is the correct one for the A5. But I did also notice that the way that these are set up, it's very easy to push fit them. So you can slide that one out. You could slide that one in, and it's really not going anywhere. So I'm going to hang on to these. I'm not going to glue these. Probably the fit will be even tighter when they're painted, but might as well future-proof a little bit, maybe save a couple of these barrels, and be able to build whatever future variant might come along that uses them. So with the Leopard 2A5 kit, really nice fit and finish. I enjoyed building it. I built 2 Martyr 2s because the first one I built, I had some fit problems. And I don't know if it was my trimming or my cleaning or whatnot. Sometimes this happens the first time I build a model. It really can be a little frustrating. Things aren't going together well. I have to go look online and so on. So this was the first one I built, and just wasn't happy with it. For some reason, the front didn't sit flush like I expected it to, and by the time I noticed, it had glued up and dried. So this is more like a tester model, but I wanted to make sure it was me or if it was the kit. So I built a second one, and this one is much nicer, smoother fit. These are a little bit harder to build, in my opinion, than these. The back in particular is a little futzy to put on. I also looked at my West German book as far as these Milan launchers. Looks like there's only one version of the Martyr 2 platoon. That's the one that carries infantry, that'll let the infantry mount their Milan missile on the tank. So you can take like either a platoon of 2 and one of them will have a Milan, or a platoon of 3, I believe, and 2 of them can have Milans. So I just built one with and one without, and I saved the Milan piece in case I need it later. Otherwise I can throw away everything else in the sprue. Last but not least, I built the Tornado. Now, I wasn't too happy with this kit, and I never built a resin one of these, so I can't really compare it to a resin Tornado, but I have built the resin A10s and things like that. It's a trade-off. Working in plastic is always easier than working in resin, but this kit is, you can really see an obvious mold line, not mold line, but a line where the 2 halves of this fuselage connected. Same thing here in the wing struts. Now, you could play it with the wings back and no one's going to notice. No one's going to notice once it's painted in camo. Painting these in camo covers a multitude of building sins. Another thing that didn't go quite well was these engine caps. That's how they're supposed to go, but it's not flush. And really, I'm just going to take a file and get it down to where it fits a little bit better. But otherwise, I mean, it went, build-wise, it went together well. It is cool that it has moving wings. There's that resin bomblet launcher on there. So, I mean, not a bad kit. It paints up, and the Tornado's an awesome-looking airplane, so, it's not bad at all. But it is a little bit frustrating. The roots of being a plastic model kit from Revell, I did look that up. This was a Revell kit. Are obvious compared to building something that's a little bit more precision like this. But otherwise, it's cool. I'm looking forward to having 2 of them. Depending on how they perform, I might look at getting an additional 2 and running a full maxed out 4 plane flight. But I don't know, that remains to be seen. I might get more helicopters. Alright guys, so there you go. That is a look at the West German starter box for Team Yankee. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. I did. I'm looking forward to getting these guys on the field, and I'm looking forward to painting them. I like the NATO 3-color scheme quite a bit. I think it's quite cool. I painted my Americans in that scheme, but that's probably not going to stop me from painting the West Germans in kind of the same scheme. But we'll see. Maybe I'll find some even cooler paint schemes I could use. But there you go, guys. I hope you did enjoy this unboxing. If you did, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, we'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. Click that bell to receive notification when we release new content. If you like our Flames of War content, do check out our Flames of War Patreon, where patrons get access to a Flames of War battle report exclusive to them every month. Thanks for watching, and keep on wargaming.